The Bill Simmons Podcast, presented by Chase. All right, I got to be honest. It took me 4 months to want to talk to this guy. The Lakers won the NBA title in the bubble. I knew he would be insufferable about it. I gave him time to calm down. Now he's going to come on and tell us that the Lakers have as many titles as the Celtics, even though they won 5 of them in Minneapolis. Flea, welcome back to the podcast.
You know, don't feel like I've had the opportunity to be as wildly and selfishly obnoxious as I would like to be about the Lakers winning the title, given the circumstances of the bubble and the coronavirus and whatnot. You might have heard about this coronavirus thing. So let me take this opportunity right now to say that I don't know, are pigs actually happy when they're in shit? Is that true? Because I am a big, fat, pink, hairy hog rolling around in a pile of shit, happy as hell, kicking my feet in the air, thanking the Lord.
The only thing you missed was, first of all, going to the games, and then second, raising the banner and being there and getting to do that. So you're watching everything from your house on TV. What was it like?
Man, you know, the whole thing of the NBA going on with no fans, and I think that my perspective on it now has shifted as it continues on with no fans. In the bubble, for me, in the playoffs, it was really exciting. And for one, it's the playoffs. It's the NBA playoffs. For another thing, we didn't think we'd get them at all. So they came back. We got to see it. And it was really kind of fascinating for me. You know, from the beginning of the bubble playoffs till the end, at first it was such a novelty that there were no fans. And it was like this sort of like crystallized, really pure hoops, you know? It was so cool, like with no audience interference, teams played different. You could tell that the teams that really run on emotion didn't do well, and the teams that really have their shit together and are smart, you know, were able to just executed really well, really flourished in that environment. And it was so cool to see it. And, you know, and the Lakers won the championship, and it was just absolutely beautiful to see how they did it. And there were so many great little triumphs among the macro triumphs of being great. And they win this year, and they have more than the Celtics. That's really going to be great. But now, as it goes on with the no audience, it's starting to be a little bit disheartening for me personally. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I feel the same. It's funny. Wait, the way you were just talking about it made me think of the difference of the bubble basketball was better in some ways, right? The shooting was as good as it's ever been. The intensity was great. And it reminded me a little bit of if you saw an awesome band in the smallest venue possible, right? Like a 50-person venue where it's the same thing. It's a different kind of energy and it's more intense. It's confined, which I'm sure you've been in that situation. Not as fun as playing in front of 80,000 people or being in an 18,000 seat NBA arena, but different kind of energy, right? Do you see a comparison with that?
I never thought of it that way. But yeah, I guess so. It was you mean that close up personal aspect. I think it would be even more so if they didn't have the fake crowd noise and we could hear the players cursing, and it was really like an eerie silence of the arena. That would actually be really cool, and I would like it better. But it you know, I forgot what I was going to say. It was fantastic.
Well, I felt like that.
We got basketball. Also, we got basketball in October.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of a gift is that? That
playoff
was just
basketball.
Yeah, that was just like manna from the heavens, man. We got basketball in October. And then not to mention, in the same month, the Dodgers won the World Series. So it was just like raining, championships here in Los Angeles. I don't know what happened over in, for the Red Sox and the Celtics, but over here,
it was
man,
bad.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was bad. I was glad I was trapped in my house and not being able to be around people.
Do you remember the time that it was, I don't know when it was. It might have been when the Lakers won it in 2010. I'm not sure. But it was a mid-season game, and the Lakers played the Celtics. And the Lakers won at Staples. And I remember running out into the street, going to my car, all this big little light in my loafers, hopping around or going to the parking lot. And I ran into you in the street. You remember that?
I do. And I wasn't
great.
as happy. I wasn't as happy as you were.
No.
Well, I
But
think
man,
we
the
missed.
Celtics look pretty good.
No, we really don't. Don't be nice.
Don't
Don't
they? I mean, I haven't
patronize
been
me.
watching
No,
them that much, but
we don't look good, and I think we missed our window to play you in the finals last year,
mm,
and it's looking increasingly like a missed opportunity where Hayward gets hurt at the beginning of the bubble, and they're a guy short. Miami ends up getting in instead, and now the Celtics team, no Hayward, Kemba looks hurt, and the whole fan base is panicking. It's not great. Whereas you guys, you felt like you almost lost Anthony Davis with like a KD type Achilles injury there for a split second, where it looked very similar to it, right? Where he's grabs the back of his leg and it was
yeah,
like,
but he
uh-oh.
kept playing. But he kept playing for a while, and you could see it coming. Like he had grabbed it a couple of times. And what is it? They're calling it like tendinosis of the Achilles, right?
Yeah,
I thought it was a calf, which actually worried me more. I thought he might have gotten the Marcus Smart calf tear.
right.
And I'm kind of waiting, because Marcus Smart does play on my fantasy team.
He'll be back soon.
Okay, yeah, I need him. I'm getting walloped here.
Well, we need a third scorer. Marcus is going to come back and say, I'm the third scorer. And he's going to take a bunch of shots, which will be both bad and good. Have you accepted LeBron yet as a Laker?
Wait, what about LeBron as a Laker?
Like, do you officially feel like he's a Laker now? This is year
I felt
3.
Like he was
he's
a
won
Laker
a title.
I felt like he was a Laker before we started the season 2 years ago when we got him. The day that we found out, like midsummer, when we found out that he signed, I was rolling on the floor in ecstasy that he was a Laker. And I'd like Cleveland or Miami didn't exist to me anymore. That part of his history doesn't exist. It's like, it's like
that first year when he came in and he broke, I remember he passed, I think, Kobe for whatever he said, whatever scoring mark, or he passed whoever on the scoring list. But he had just kind of gotten to the Lakers, and the Laker fans are applauding, and it's like they had no history with the guy. But now it kind of feels like he's a Laker. Maybe it felt like that to you sooner.
For me, honestly, like all jokes aside, it really did feel to me like he was a Laker when he became a Laker.
Okay.
I didn't need him to prove anything. I didn't, I was just a kid when Kareem came over from Milwaukee, but I didn't feel like he was a Buck. He was a Laker.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid and I wasn't like putting all that onto it, he was just a Laker. He put on the purple and gold and his goggles and he was a Laker. And that's how I felt about LeBron. And obviously he won a championship. He went through a rough season, probably the worst season of his career when he had the Lonzo Ingram, that season. But I just, this seems like an LA guy to me.
All right, rank them then. Best Lakers you've seen in person.
That I've ever seen play in person?
Yeah, best Lakers you've seen in person. Because now LeBron officially counts on that list.
Oh, Jesus. Well, Magic Johnson's number 1.
Fair.
Kareem is number 2. Kobe's number 3. LeBron is number 4.
Shaq?
Shaq's number 5.
Tough podcast for Shaq.
Shaq wasn't. I love Shaq. I can't make a hierarchy of these guys in order.
No, you just did.
You
just made news.
One.
No, it's going to be a news story now.
What?
It's going to be a news story now. It just happened. You made your list. All the newspapers are going to run with it.
This morning I was running with my dogs up in the mountains and I kind of had that thought. And I was remembering how, it's a time when things hit you. I remember like being really obsessed with the Lakers during Magic's career and watching him every fast break being so glued to what he was going to do. You never knew what he was going to do. Like Kareem, he got the ball, he was going to swing left and then to go right and do the sky hook. When LeBron gets the ball, you don't really know, but he's going to do the smartest thing and he's going to execute well, except for once in a while when he gets tired and he just starts kind of jacking up threes because he doesn't feel like driving to the lane. Fair enough. But with Magic, you never knew what he was going to do. Was he going to dish to, Byron or Worthy on either wing? Was he going to go down the middle and get fouled? Was he going to pull up? You just had no idea. The man was a constant surprise.
It's funny, but we were having the same experience on the East Coast with Bird. And I think that's why those guys are so special. And especially as the years pass, have not been replicated. Like it's almost like in music where we had Billy Joel and Elton John at the same time in the 70s. And then there's just been nobody like those guys since. Like these guys that can play piano and fill an NBA arena or fill a 500 seat club and they can just be have the same kind of performance and the same kind of intensity and the whole thing. But yeah, we just, as the years pass, you realize like, holy shit, I'm probably not going to see that again. Yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah, era's end. And that Bird Magic HBO documentary might be the greatest sports documentary ever made.
It's really good. It's gotten good legs, I think, for that.
Yeah, the thing that's great about it is that both of these guys were really built up in the media. Like the Larry being the working class, blue collar, hard, guy, and Magic, even though he's also from the Midwest, but Magic being this Hollywood swinger, glitz and glamour guy. But it's true. Like you watch it and you realize they actually are those guys, even though Magic is a real family man and stuff, but he was embracing the Hollywood lifestyle. And like all that Bird stuff about him putting on his dad's shoe and his foot is broken because he's got to go to work anyways. And his dad kills himself and like on mowing his lawn. I mean, all that stuff, and the fact that they actually did end up bonding. And like much to Bird's chagrin, kind of. It was like Magic was trying to be friends the whole time, and Bird was just too damn grumpy to do it. And, they really did have this, they were like opposing North and South magnets, creating this powerful energy between them. It was amazing, man. We're lucky we got to see that when we were kids.
Did the Chili Peppers ever cross paths with the Showtime Lakers in any sort of Los Angeles way? Because you're basically running in different circles, I would say.
Yeah, no, I've never really hung out with professional basketball players in my whole life.
Not once. Not even when you guys became super famous?
Never. It's never really happened. I'm friends with Steve Nash a little bit. My wife is friends with some basketball players. But I just have never, I don't know why.
So you guys were never invited to the Forum Club in like 1989, 1990 range? Never happened.
No, it was never cool enough, man. I've never been cool enough to hang out in the Forum Club with the basketball players. I need to hang out when like Metallica plays, like drink beer with James Hetfield. But I never got to tip martini glasses with AC Green.
Is this the longest you've ever gone without playing live music?
It's the longest that I've gone. Yes. I mean, since I was doing, recitals in 7th grade. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, it has to have been a year and a half, right? Because you guys were rehearsing and you had some changes in the band and stuff and you were kind of figuring it out, but you weren't on tour and you had been planning on going on tour, but then there's no tour and now it's been at least a year and a half, right?
Yeah, something like that. I think something like that. I think we did shows in November of 2019.
Yeah.
I think those were the last ones. I'm not, don't quote me on that. You can quote me on it if you want.
Well, think about it. I do feel like, look, there's really no silver linings with the pandemic, but a tiny little silver lining is I do feel like people are going to appreciate sporting events and live music in a totally different way. I knew I took it for granted. I would have tickets for stuff like, I don't feel like going. Now I'd be like, I can't fucking wait to go to an NBA game. I can't wait to go to a concert. I can't wait to go to the Hollywood Bowl. I can't wait till life's normal again and we can go do this stuff. And I'm sure you feel the same playing.
Well, that's the thing. We're playing for sure. But even attending sporting events myself, so I was talking about it was exciting when the bubble happened in the playoffs. But now I still watch every single Laker game and I watch other basketball. But I find myself my attention wandering. You know what I mean? Like I'll go and pick up something else while the game's on and miss part of the game. I've never done it. I watch the game. I watch everything unfold. I try to figure out what kind of defense they're running, what they're doing. And now I'm my mind wanders and watching now. It's can you imagine if it was full of 20,000 people going bonkers right now? It's you can't, it just seems like a bygone era. It's crazy, man. But in terms of entertainment not happening, when the floodgates open, they're going to open wide and there's going to be a torrent of performance and everything. I mean, I know for all my contemporaries that play in bands that I'm in touch with, and all musicians, and like everyone is just like plotting to get on the road and waiting and chomping at the bit to get on the road and do gigs. And there's going to be so much of it. I'm like, it's going to be too much. Every arena is going to be filled every night with somebody. Every theater, every club is going to be packed, and it'll be great, man.
Well, it's had a huge impact because, as the music business changed over the last 20 years, album sales aren't the same. And a lot of the bigger bands and medium-sized bands, a lot of how they made the money was touring, doing concerts, being on the road, and not being able to do that. Now everybody's going to want to go back at the same time. I guess for you guys, you basically had almost 4 decades of playing shows. Can you imagine if you had been really on the rise and just about to hit it, and now you can't play in front of a crowd for like a year and a half? It's almost like an athlete losing like a year in their prime or something, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. That would be really difficult. It's funny. I was thinking, this is a real tangent, but I can't help. But I acted in this film that came out last year called Queen and Slim. And it's a film about, social injustice. It's about a black couple who are pulled over by a cop, and a scuffle breaks out. They accidentally shoot the cop. They go on the lam, and it kind of, examines social justice issues, and particularly, black people and the police officers. And I was thinking about, how that works, and racism and systemic racism and social justice. And I was doing an interview once with Melina Metsoukas, who's the director who made Queen and Slim. And she was talking to me about how many, young black people get arrested at a young age unfairly, or at least like definitely unfairly in context, compared to white people, and how it really messes up their lives. Because when you go into jail and you're young, it's so hard to get a job. It's so hard to bounce back. It's so hard to do all this stuff. And I think about, like, I had told this story that once when I was like, when Chili Peppers were just starting out, might have made our first record or not. I can't remember. But me and I don't want another band member, because I can't tell a story with someone else in the band about this. But another one of my band members and me and a friend up all night doing crazy drugs in our pockets, syringes, all this terrible stuff. We were out of our minds, like 5 a.m. Let's go to the beach. Yeah, we'll go to the beach. Driving. It's like, the sun's rising. We're driving to the beach. We get pulled over. Cops see us, and we're just like out of it. Like wasted. I remember the cop pulled me over. I was the one driving. My hands were shaking like crazy. And the guy my eyes are like 2 fried eggs. I got all these drugs in my pocket. And I was shaking because I was so scared. Because, I'm like really going to get in trouble. And the cop just being like, all right, you guys, like, come on now. You've taken it a little far. Like, go home and get some rest, okay? Just get in your car, turn around, go home and get some rest. Yes, sir, officer, directly, right home. And I thought, like, if we would have been arrested at that time, and if I would have gotten busted for drug possession and all that stuff, and had I gone to jail, like right when the Chili Peppers were taking off, it would have screwed everything.
Yeah.
What if I would have gone to jail for 2 years? And come out and like dealt with the trauma of being locked up, and everyone else going off and doing other stuff. The world goes on without you. Like, would I have ever been able to have this entire career that I've been enjoying for the last 40 years? I don't know, man. So, as that relates, that's a real extreme version, but
it's a fork in the road moment, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Huge, man.
Well, you made some news right before the pandemic because your old guitarist came back, John Frusciante, where that had been, when did he leave? And sometime in the early mid 2000s, or I can't remember the exact date.
He left twice. He quit the first time, and I think in 91 or 92 after our Blood Sugar record, left full and came back in like 99, something like that, 98. And then he quit again in 2000. I know when he came back, it was 10 years, like to the day that we announced that he left the first time. I mean, the last time. So he was gone for 10 years and just came back. So but I think he left like 2010, came back 2009, came back 2019.
Well,
It's really, and our fans were kind of upset about, they didn't feel that we announced it with enough poignant explanation. But we just felt like, look, this has happened. Let's just get it out and be done with it. We don't want to, this is our business,
I was going to say it was handled in classic Chili Peppers fashion. You sent out like a paragraph. You're like, hey, this happened. here's where we're going forward. I was trying to imagine if an NBA team did that, like, hey, we have the Lakers. We've decided to bring back Shaquille O'Neal. No further questions at this time.
Yeah, well, there's some things that, aren't people's business,
Yeah.
We were really loved Josh Klinghoffer, and he was awesome, and grateful for him. And it's awesome, and now we're grateful for John,
So were you guys were rehearsing, and then all of a sudden that had to stop. So what happens now?
Oh, we've been working
Okay.
steadily, and I kind of feel hesitant to talk about exactly where we're at because it's band stuff, and I don't like, we kind of have an agreement, that we don't
I got you.
Yeah. But we're doing great. We're flourishing.
It's so interesting. You have all this history with all of these different people, and especially in music and with bands. It's like a basketball team. It's like you can play together for a few seasons, and then this guy gets traded or this guy leaves, and then the team's a little different. But you have those core guys, and now you're basically back to where you started in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, our original guitar player died.
No, I know, but like you were,
Yeah.
early 90s, late 90s.
We definitely have it's a very potent and powerful lineup for us.
Mm.
Know.
When you think back, I mean, now it's been a million years, but like there's been a lot of stuff about, like, there's multiple Woodstock 99 documentaries going right now. Can you even remember some of these moments? Like Woodstock 99, what do you remember about Woodstock 99? Because you played on a Sunday night. The people are starting fires at that point. It's like complete chaos. And they ask Anthony if he could calm things down. And Anthony you guys end up playing Fire, the song Fire, and kind of stepping into it a little bit. But like, do you even remember nights like that, or they all blur together?
I remember them. I remember most gigs, at least something about them. Like someone can say to me, hey, I saw you in Cincinnati in 1987, and I'll remember something. But anyways, they had all the clothes, the dressing room. I remember like putting them on, like coming out. And so I came out on stage in a purple sequin dress, But yeah, no, I remember that one, the Woodstock 99, pretty well.
Well, you were naked in Woodstock 99. You decided to do no clothes for that. That show.
No, I definitely wore my birthday suit for that one. I remember a number of things about it. I remember that things I said on stage. I remember what was going on in my personal life. I remember everything about it. I remember rocking.
Can you sense the energy from a venue, and does it feel different from place to place? Because one of the things, like with Woodstock 99, they always talked about there was like an anger, especially over the course of 3 days, because it was so hot, and that was a big reason why things kind of degenerated. When you go out there, can you read the energy of the room, kind of? Because in sports, you can kind of feel it sometimes. You can feel tension. You can feel whatever.
I definitely have different feelings in every room that I go to. I don't know that my relationship to the stage and the music that we're playing and what's going on in the room is accurate in terms to like what it is, like my relationship to it. Like I remember at that time when we played Woodstock, and you could feel that there was an ugliness and an abusiveness in the audience, and I didn't like it. I remember feeling, but I think like that was just kind of an era too, like that really existed at that time. It was something that was not individual to the Woodstock performance. It was like going on all over the place. There was this kind of like real macho, jockish, mean-spirited thing that was being glorified at the time in rock music. And I didn't like it. I never liked it. But that's what was going on. And I think that, sometimes a big event like that, it manifests in a big way and all the press is there and everyone's there. So they feel it and they see it and they remark upon it. And it's the things that we remember in history. But I always feel like that's just one signpost of something that was going on everywhere. It's just a barometer.
When you guys can do live music again and start touring around, where's the first place you want to play? LA?
Yeah, we've discussed that. Obviously, we've been asked many times to do computer concerts, for various reasons. And there's good philanthropy to be done. There's, if you want to make money doing it, there's money to be made. But it's really important for us that when we do that, especially since it's going to be our first on playing guitar, that we do it live for people. And I don't know where that's going to be. We've discussed it, and whether it's a benefit concert or it's a big concert, or we just go do some little clubs to warm up or whatever. We're entertainers, and we love to connect with people and play music and shine a light that way. So we look forward to doing it.
Maybe it should be the national anthem for the Celtics Lakers NBA Finals. That could be your comeback appearance. Game 1.
We'll do that.
That would be cool, right? I would be delighted if that happened.
Do you think the Nets are going to make the finals?
I do. I had Barkley on my podcast. I had Barkley on my podcast on Tuesday, and I was saying I think they're by far the safest bet. He was way more pessimistic because he felt like they don't have the defense, they don't have the center rim protector type person yet, but they might get that person. But I just think they have too much offense.
Who'd you have on?
Charles Barkley, and he thinks Philly is a safer bet because they're bigger, they have more size. Embiid, he doesn't think Brooklyn can handle Embiid, but I just feel like those 3 guys Brooklyn has. I do think you would beat them though, assuming you're healthy.
I think that we can beat them if we're healthy because we have the defense. We get a little preview tonight. But the weird thing about the Nets is I can't figure this out with Kyrie. Kyrie is might be the most skilled player I've ever seen. I mean, it's insane the way he can get his shot up, the way his handles, his quickness, the way that he cuts the angles, all of that stuff. But it's let me ask you, you know this better than me. I'm just a run-of-the-mill fan. Is he always injured all the time, or is this load management? Because it just seems like he plays every other game the whole season.
I think these teams are being really careful with their stars, with how hard the schedule is.
Okay, so
especially the smaller guys too.
Okay, so if you just have a little tightness in your hip or whatever, you're sitting out, just in case it could manifest into something worse.
Well, the real thing that's going on, I think, and I don't know if I'm right, but this is my theory, because there's not going to be crowds for the playoff games. The seeds don't matter the way they did. You saw it in the bubble. It didn't really matter where the games were. It was Game 6, Boston's the home team. Who cares? They're playing in a bubble, and we're probably going to be in a similar situation in the playoffs. So I think teams are thinking 3 seed, 7 seed. It doesn't really matter as long as our team's healthy. I think what's interesting in the West, though, if Utah can get the 1 seed, that actually does kind of matter because they have that whole altitude thing there, and that will be a slight advantage. If the Lakers have to go there, they're a little banged up. They got to play Game 7 in Utah. It's it's not a huge advantage, but it's not nothing.
Yeah, but also the advantage of just being the number 1 seed and playing the 8th worst team that just squeaks in and fights with 5 other teams for that seed. That's where the advantage is.
Well, and then you get to avoid both LA teams too. If you're the 1 seed and LA are 2 and 3, they have to play each other before they get to you. So you only have to play 1, not 2 would be the other big advantage.
Are the Clippers better this year than they were last year?
I feel like they're the same, honestly.
They're the same.
Yeah, I just feel like it's 2 really, really good guys. 2 of the best 15 players in the league. And I don't really trust anyone else to have. Especially in the playoffs. You see Lou Williams last year in the playoffs, Mark. I don't trust any of those guys. I think with the Lakers, the shocking thing is that Caldwell Pope has become this reliable role player. And Schroeder, Schroeder will rise to the occasion. You're going to have him. I like the team. I think it's a better team than it is last year. The question for me is Davis, can he stay on the court?
Yeah. Well, wait, is this his first? This is his first. No, it's his second injury this year.
Yeah. Well, because you had the bubble baggage where you played all these games and then the season starts right up again. And it's hard. Miami had the same issues.
Yeah. Well, they have to really take their time and not bring him back too quickly. What a beautiful basketball player. I had this guy over my house the other day who was saying, I've never really been an Anthony Davis fan. He's just like, he's pretty good, but he's so tall and has an advantage over everybody. And I was like, are you out of your mind? There's a million tall guys in the NBA. Every team has a 7-footer. It's remarkable watching him play. Same with LeBron too, because, of course I watched him before, but I didn't watch him every game. And not since Magic have I seen a guy that brings the players together as well as he does and uplifts all the other players. And probably maybe even better than Magic, because he doesn't just do it in the way that he plays with all the assists and the keeping the ball movement, but I feel like he, like locker room style, really lifts the guys up and helps them to believe in themselves and believe in a shared ideal. You think that's fair to say?
He turned Dwight Howard into a redeemable teammate. That was an impossibility. He was the least popular teammate of the last 12 years. And LeBron had him, and he made it work.
I fell in love with Dwight when he came back.
You did? Tell me why.
But because he was so earnest, and he was such a cheerleader, and he was such a they never ran plays for him. They were like, do the dirty work, get boards and putbacks and stuff. We're not running plays for you. Set picks, come off the bench. Sometimes don't play at all in the playoffs because we don't need a big guy. And he never complained, and he played his every fiber of his being every time he stepped onto the court. It was a beautiful thing to see.
I was shocked. I thought he was on his way out of the league. It was really impressive. LeBron said he said that title and the 2016 Cavs title over the Warriors were the two most impressive titles anybody's ever won. I don't think I agree with that, but I thought it was really impressive. I think to go through the bubble, to be away from your families, all that, it really was something. I don't feel like it has an asterisk next to it or anything. I think your 5 Minnesota titles do. Those are asterisks.
No, those are hard-earned titles.
It's sad. It's sad that you have to steal from the great state of Minnesota.
No.
That you have to steal their titles and count them as your own. It's sad. It saddens me.
Teams move around. It's not like they went from being the Seattle Supersonics to changing their name and becoming the Oklahoma Thunder or whatever. This is a team that just moved cities. They didn't change the team when they moved cities. They didn't change the name when they moved cities. They're the same team. The Lakers have won 17 titles.
Listen,
Lakers.
You keep telling yourself this. It all sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah, it's true.
You're counting the 5. The 5 minutes. You didn't even retire George Mikan's number. You're counting all his titles.
They didn't retire his number?
No, retire Big George's number if you're going to count his titles.
They really should. I didn't know they didn't do that.
You should have George Mikan night. You guys could play. You guys could be the house band for George Mikan night. Everybody will be dead who would have shown up for George Mikan because all that team's gone. But
George Mikan is the Buddy Holly of basketball.
He was. He had big glasses. Hey, it was great to see you. I'm glad all is well. I hope things are going well with your awesome school. Things are going well with that, right?
Things are going so well with the school, and I'm starting a new school in Watts that I'm really excited about.
Whoa.
Yeah. And we're just getting into the last stages of getting all the permits together. But we're starting the Watts Conservatory of Music, which is just a beautiful thing. And a lot of, since the pandemic hit, it's been really, really great for me to be in Angelino and to be involved in all different parts of the city. And one of the things is the Watts Conservatory of Music. So life is good.
When do you think that's going to open?
Hopefully it will coincide this summer at the latest.
Awesome. Congratulations. Yeah. That's great.
Thank you very much.
It was great to see you. I can't wait to see you guys on stage and for life to be normal again. But I'm glad all is well with you.
Thanks, Bill. See you, man.